All right. Well, it says we're live, right, Jeff? So welcome. Happy Saturday to you. We've got our guest here, Jeff Olson, of REMAX Preferred, who's going to talk to us a little bit today about HUD home listings and how to successfully sell them. Just a bit of a Q&A. We do this monthly, and so if you're needing more information and everything else, and just like everyone during the pandemic, we're at our homes today on a Saturday. We've got dogs, we've got kids. We'll try and do our best here. But why don't you start off, Jeff? Yeah, there we go. So what is a HUD home listing? We'll take it from there. There's the first question.
Basically, it's a property. People think of them as foreclosures, which they pretty much are. It's basically a property that was an FHA insured mortgage that was foreclosed upon. So, and now it's being sold. So put on the market and sold. They do an appraisal on it to come up with a value for it and sell it just basically like any other home. So
Okay, right on. Next question then. Are these HUD home listings that are done by the is it the federal government, the state government, or is it both? Kind of.
yeah, well, we have an asset management group that handles the properties, but it's an FHA mortgage. So yeah.
Okay. So it's a combination of the Fed, but then because obviously the properties are in the state of Wisconsin, there's some laws there too that have to do with each state.
Yeah, there is certain groups that handle, territories. They call it like territory. So it handles a multi-state area, typically an asset management group that's been awarded the HUD contract.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Next question. Are HUD homes available to all agents in the marketplace?
They are, as long as the brokerage has a NAID certification, a NAID number. So
Okay.
brokerage you can't place a bid without putting your NAID number in. So
Okay.
themselves, like for instance, I don't have to have a NAID number. It's the brokerage that I work under that has to.
Got it.
A lot of times it's going to be the same NAID number for every agent working under a certain brokerage.
So good call.
Yep.
So if an agent wants to write an offer on one of your HUD listings, they just need to, if they're not the broker of their own company, and if they are, they need to have their NAID number. And if they're not the broker of their own company, they just need to talk to their broker of record and make sure that they know what that is.
Yep, and get set up with it. Now, if for some reason somebody wants to place a bid and they don't have a NAID number, they can contact me, for example, or another agent with a NAID number, and they can place that bid for you.
Got it.
Not be turned away because if you're looking to place a bid on a property, let's say today or tomorrow, you're not going to have time basically to get a NAID. You can't just I'm going to run out and grab my NAID. It usually takes at least several weeks. So we put the call, we'll figure it out. We can place a bid and do figure some way to do it. So basically, the agent with the NAID has to place the bid and then has to do the contracts and kind of goes through the whole process, because once your name is on it, you're handling it. So, but we can do a referral. There's a lot of different things that can be done. So that's
excellent.
Certainly. Yep. So
very cool. Can investors buy HUD homes?
Investors can buy HUD homes after the initial 15 days. So when the property is first listed, it first hits HUDhomestore.com. You have 15 days with which to where owner occupants only can place bids. So once that time, and you can look right on the site and see when it's open to investors. So if it makes it past the owner occupant period, it gets into the investor period, and then at that time you can go in and place a bid. You don't have to, if you're an investor and you place a bid at that time, you don't have to hold on to the property for a year like you do if you're an owner occupant in that initial bid period. So, because they don't want.
Well, that answers a secondary question right there then. So owner occupied, which I think one of the questions I was going to ask you is, and I'll put the question up, can a buyer flip a HUD home? Yep. And it sounds to me like they could, but they're going to have to live there for a year.
Yeah, well, you can if you buy it during the initial 15 days. Now, if you buy it on the 16th day, if you get any time into the investor period, you can do whatever you want. So
Okay.
you don't have to hold on. You can flip it a month from then if you want. But in that initial owner occupant period, you have to certify. There's a owner occupant certification form that's part of the contract package, and you
Okay.
have to certify that you're going to live in the home for, well, I shouldn't say live in the home, but you're, because of course some of these require repairs, and it takes, you're not, occasionally there'll be one where it's not even livable, and it's going to take you a couple months to fix it up. That's fine, but they don't have a specific period where you have to be moved into the house, but you can't rent it, you can't use it as a rental property, you can't flip it, you can't. So you have to have the intent of living in the property, basically. So that's
Understood. Rock
yeah,
and roll. Well, that's
yeah.
a perfect segue into my next question for you. Then is, in these particular cases where maybe the house has been vacant for a long time or whatever, can let's get into like the actual process. So, okay, you did get a bid accepted on a HUD home. Can
Sure.
the utilities be activated for the inspection period? And then I'll follow that question up. Not only can they be turned on, but then we'll talk a little bit about if repairs can maybe be made. But can the utilities be turned back on to inspect these suckers? Or
So yeah, so the way that works is we have what they call a PCR, which is a property condition report. It's different than the real estate condition report, but it's a really basic um, form that states what's wrong, what has been noticed by the FSM, which is a field service manager, as to what's wrong with the property. In that report, it'll state whether or not the plumbing held pressure. So that's the key is if the plumbing did not hold pressure, then we can't turn the water on. They will not approve under any circumstances turning the water on.
got it.
So I always tell agents, make sure, in fact, we put a note typically on the MLS, right on the MLS sheet that says utilities cannot be activated, just so people don't kind of stroll into it thinking that they're going to turn on the utilities and the lender's going to be happy. They're going to, because of course, once that appraisal is ordered, they're going to want utilities on. So they need to do their homework before placing a bid, whether or not they can get financing on it. Now, there are options like FHA 203K and different, construction loans.
Yeah, construction loans, rehab loans, different. Yeah, yep.
Yep. So that's a way to get around it. And the second question, repairs.
Yeah. So the question is, yeah, will HUD actually make, because they're the temporary owners, whatever, will HUD make repairs to those items found in an inspection report that are messed up?
Yeah, HUD will not. So
Okay.
so no matter what they find, doesn't matter if the lender requires it, doesn't matter. So yeah, they're doing the inspection for their own knowledge, but there's no repairs to be made. The only exception to that is if we have a situation where, let's say a railing on a second floor falls off or something, and we've got an issue that could actually injure somebody. Something that's like that's a hazard. Then we can get the field service manager to come out, and they'll send them out to put up a makeshift railing or something to that effect. It's not going to be fancy where it's going to be a brand new oak railing is put in or something. It's going to be 2x4s, most likely. But
it just needs to make the property safe. So I mean, if it's a giant safety concern, then they'll deal with it.
Yep. If you got ice, a lot of ice on the front porch or steps or something, if we've got a broken wood step that somebody could fall and hurt themselves, something like that, we can get someone out there, but no repairs for the inspection for things just that the buyer wants or that the lender is requiring, anything like that. So
excellent. Yep. Another question, who chooses the title company for where a property would close at?
Yep. Buyer gets to choose the title company. You do that actually right on the bid. And
okay.
Offer paperwork. So we can close at your favorite local title company. Some bank-owned properties that I deal with, the seller has one picked out, and they're a lot of times out of state and different. Where here you can pick, Preferred Title or Homestead or whatever wherever you want. First American.
Nightberry, First American, doesn't matter. Whoever you're used to using.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Who holds the earnest money for a HUD home listing?
So earnest money is it's going to be the title company. So it's a certified check that's written to the title company, and then a copy is sent with the contract. And then then I get the actual check.
Okay.
The hold the check during the process of getting the contract signed by the seller. So, and once that's signed and sent back to us, then we take the check. I'll have it in hand. I'll take it over and deliver it to the title company. And then the title company deposits the check, has the check till closing. So it's a little bit of it's not difficult, but it's a little bit of a runaround. So it doesn't go directly from the buyer's agent right to the title company. It
Okay.
has me, and then I hold it. And then once it's signed, then take it over to the title company. So
excellent. Okay. Pretty standard. I mean, it's one of those things where it's kind of using a little bit more of a neutral intermediary for the most, for the initial portion, and then it goes kind of to the normal side of things. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we use the state WB forms like normal for the offer and all that stuff, or
no forms that are
okay?
And obviously the agent can have a buyer agency agreement, but as far as the actual offer forms, it's HUD has their own contracts. And
Okay.
great thing now about how they're doing it, and it wasn't like this a few years ago, is that everything's done by DocuSign. So we have just an online checklist we go through, we upload what they require, and then all of a sudden, boom, they send out all the contracts to all the parties. So both agents, if there's a broker involved that has to sign, the title company, and the buyers, and then it just goes from one to the next, just like DocuSign works. And once it's signed, it's done, and it's so much better than it used to be a few years ago. We had to hand sign everything with blue ink and send it overnighted to Texas, and
Sure.
So many mistakes. So now it's just a foolproof, really easy process actually. So
rock and roll. Another follow-up question here, and if you're watching online live right now too, and you have a question, feel free to just type your question down in the comments, and we can certainly throw it up here for Jeff to try and answer. The next question I have is: are HUD Homes prices? Are the list prices that are set out there, are they negotiable or?
They are. So basically, there's a list price, and then when you place your bid, you put in whatever you're comfortable with. You can add closing costs up to 3% as well. So
okay.
you put your bid in. Now, obviously, if it's in the initial bid period where it's a brand new listing, they're not going to be really. I mean, we don't know the exact formulas that they use, but there's not going to be typically a huge drop in the price or anything like that right away, like any listing.
Sure.
So, but
typically, though, they are a little bit more. I don't want to, put them in a hole or anything like that, or at least a box, but they're a little more systematic, a little more mechanical about their pricing, obviously, than maybe an emotional home seller. I mean, it's all statistics and valuations and whatever, right? So
on market and percentage of list price, something like that. So
sure.
So property's been listed for a little while. Sometimes there'll be a little more flexibility in the price, but basically you place a bid and you see what happens. Sometimes I'm surprised, other times I'm not.
Okay.
But yeah, they and most HUD properties are priced well, so a lot of times they sell fairly quickly anyway. So yeah.
Cool. Is there one other question I have, just because you're a REMAX agent and we're within our own, within our company, can other REMAX agents purchase HUD Homes for themselves? So I know that was a question we've had come up before.
Yeah. So agents, REMAX preferred agents, so under this brokerage, cannot purchase a house for themselves. So
okay.
I can, if I wanted to, for example, and I'm obviously a listing agent, but if I wanted to go out and I found a property in Florida, for instance, that was a HUD property, I actually can't buy it because I'm a listing agent. So, and the same holds true for other agents who are under the REMAX preferred umbrella.
Sounds good. It's a good question. I just know we've had it come up, and then not that we won't have more questions next month, and certainly again, if anybody has questions, and even if we're not live anymore and you want to type a question, Jeff and I will get back to you and get you the answers you need. But it's a perfect segue into this question: is there anybody available to help you through this process of bidding and the contractors and contracts and all that other stuff?
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, we I'm available anytime by cell phone. So if anybody has any questions on anything, they can just call me even well before they place the bid. I've been doing it now for probably 10 years or close to it with HUD. So yeah, I mean, we can definitely help anytime if anyone has any questions or just needs to be walked through it. obviously it benefits everybody that it goes smoothly and quickly. So of
Sure.
course, we're going to be available anytime. So anytime somebody needs something with bidding or the contracts. So
Excellent.
yeah.
Well, I'm checking here. We kind of made it through at least our questions for this month. I wanted to thank you again for just making yourself available and being obviously proactive about helping agents sell HUD homes successfully and everything else. And I do see. Just let me see here. There is a question. Good question here from Peter. Looks like he's from out in California, which is great. But he's on LinkedIn, and he was just asking. Just jumped on. He's not an agent. Can a private person bid on HUD homes? If not, how do I get qualified in order to do so? So that seems like a decent question from the consumer side.
That is a good question.
You, Peter.
Yeah. So basically, what needs to happen if you're a buyer, you can't go in and place your own bid. So because whoever places the bid has to be a brokerage with a NAID certification, a NAID number. So what Peter would need to do is contact someone like myself or someone with a NAID,
either his agent, his preferred buyer's agent, or the listing agent, but somebody will put that offer in on their behalf.
Yep, and a lot of what I find is that a lot of the bigger companies will have NAID. Like if somebody calls it Keller Williams or something, or whatever, Century 21, they're typically going to have their NAID up to speed or up to renewed and current. And not saying that the smaller companies don't, but it is more common for a smaller
like a boutique has like one or two people in it. They just might not be up to speed on it yet.
And they may not be on one like, hey, what is this? What's a HUD property?
Sure.
So they just haven't come upon it. So they don't, why would they be out getting a NAID number when they don't even know what a HUD property is? So that's kind of I would say there.
And then Peter, obviously, even though it seems like maybe you're out in California, and we're doing this in Wisconsin, just so you know that there is in your area, there's always assigned people all the way across the country, through HUD, and agents that are designated for that. So if you're just struggling finding somebody that knows what's going on, you can reach out to us, and we'll at least do our best to track somebody down in your area for you. Yep. And we'll do our best. But most likely, if you have a go-to preferred agent or whatever, they can track that down for you too. But certainly we don't want to leave anybody hanging. So thanks for your question today. Jeff, I think that's about it, man. We can wrap up. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you here next month when we do another HUD Homes little update. Anything you want to let anybody know on the closing here? Or?
I don't think so. I would just get out and bid. Don't be afraid of bidding on HUD Homes. And like I said, basically, as long as your buyer likes the house, we'll figure out the rest of it. So it's really pretty easy.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah. So, yep.
Got it. Peter says, got it. Thanks so much. You're very welcome, sir. And thanks for joining us today. So appreciate it. Everyone have a good rest of your day. Get back to your Saturday. And thanks for joining us. And certainly if you have comments or questions, we'll get back to you. Take care. Have a great day.
Thanks again, Dan. Appreciate it.
You bet.